Hey guys, welcome back to the Leadership Detectives and welcome back to 2021. Great to get the year underway. Neil and I thought we'd do something a little bit different this time. We decided to interview each other. We thought we'd create some sharing of our own experiences over the years that we've been enjoying leadership in our various roles. We'd allow you the opportunity to learn a little bit more about each of us that you maybe don't or didn't know. It was actually quite embarrassing to talk about yourself, to be honest, but I think it's even more so when you're answering unexpected or unscripted questions. We didn't really know what each other had planned for the questioning schedule. So a bit of a risk, but honestly, it was really good fun to have done. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get something from it. Have fun. Speak to you soon.
Welcome to 2021, everyone. Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas and New Year, albeit a little bit smaller, I guess, with the people you got to see. How you doing, mate?
I'm not bad. Happy New Year. Did you get some social time? Did you get some fun time?
Yeah, not really. I mean, yes, Christmas, I love Christmas anyway. It's a good feeling and stuff, but it's a shame not being able to see the family. You know, I've got lots of kids and stuff that you have, and it's just a shame. But, you know, we made the most of it like British people do.
I think that's just what you've got to do, right? We can sit and whinge about it, or we can make the best of it. And look, good times will come back, right? Good times will come back.
Yeah, we're in the winter and the spring's just around the corner in many ways. The winter of this problem, the winter of physically in the calendar. Yeah. But spring's right around the corner. So
that's not something I normally say, but goodbye 2020, right? I'm not normally saying goodbye to the year before because you move over, right? But goodbye 2020. 2021, new year, fresh start. Let's get going. Let's see what more value we can add. You know, as we closed out last year, mate, we felt like we probably added some value for people, right?
It kind of, I saw lots of messages and lots of images around this goodbye 2020. And I thought, you know what? Actually, am I guilty because I actually didn't think it was a bad year? You know, there were lots of good things came out of it. You know, people got closer together. People did more exercise. You know, we came together as a country. Yeah. I learned loads of new skills because I had to, you know, so did lots of people. So I was kind of thinking, actually, I can look back at 2020 and go, actually, that wasn't such a bad year. Yeah, there were lots of things I'd love to have done I couldn't do. And obviously, you know, I didn't get hit by anybody in the family becoming really ill. But, you know, there was some good stuff came out of it as well.
It's a good point. We shouldn't just overlook that stuff, right? I think it's worth. I was doing my goals actually, and I guess we might come on and do that. Maybe we do a session around goal setting, right? Because you're good at that. You'll be a good coach on that for the team here, right? But I was doing that. But as part of that, you got to look back and say, well, how did I do on my goals for 2020? Yeah. I actually did better than I thought, right? So
good. So this is going to be a fun session today. So we thought that what we would do to kick off the year is interview each other, ask each other some questions to uncover maybe some clues around leadership we haven't talked about over the last 6 months, and also to give a chance for our audience to get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, sounds good.
How are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling good. And just for the audience to be clear, there has been no, what's the right word? Cooperation. Is that the right word? Between Neil and myself. We haven't planned the questions. I have no idea what Neil's going to ask me. He has no idea what I'm going to ask him. This is going to be straight off the top of our head and from our heart in terms of the answers to the questions. Either that or we're going to blag it really well.
Okay, so who do you want to go first? Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
No, but you go on. You hit with the first question. And...
Whoa, okay, you sure? You ready?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I spent quite a lot of time thinking about this, and I wanted to ask questions that might uncover things about you that people don't know. So the first question I've got on leadership is, what are your earliest memories of being a leader?
My earliest memories would go back even before I joined a corporate career in IBM. I was an apprentice at Hoover's as an engineer.
Yeah.
We got made redundant because they were moving us and they had to find us a job. And I got put into an engineering company in Uxbridge. And the foreman of the time, who's still a mate of mine, left and went to Scotland. And I got made foreman at 19.
Wow.
So at 19, I was suddenly in charge of the section.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first memory of, if I don't plan and ask to get things done, they might not get done. So that was my first realization that I was expected to lead.
So you were, so you were given a leadership role.
I didn't take it. I didn't ask for it.
Okay. And can you think of any other earlier times even where people followed you because you were a leader?
Yeah, there's a longer story around when I was in the Cub Scouts, right? But what I would say, there's a good example there of something we were doing. I won't go through the whole thing, but it was a challenge that Arcala had given us. But Arcala's son was also in the Scouts with us. And everybody followed him because he must be right, because he's Arcala's son. And in the challenge he gave us, I thought, that's wrong. What they're doing is wrong. I think we need to do this instead. And nobody came with me. Everybody went with Dave because he was the right guy. And I was right and they were all wrong. And at that point, people went, actually, and then people started listening to me. And I kind of went, what, from one bit of fun challenge? But no, it's funny because people get some evidence that maybe you're worth. Do you know, I not even realised that's probably even earlier, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right. I thought that'd be worth uncovering because I think typically people who gravitate towards leadership roles have demonstrated leadership tendencies, or people follow them earlier on in their life and even in junior life.
Oh, so that's interesting. So the question I had for you as the opening one was similar, but not the same. And it was, when did you know you wanted to be a leader?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. And actually, it's a very similar question because it does go back to childhood. So I knew I wanted to lead, or I knew I wanted to lead people when I was going back below 10 years old. So I can't remember whether it's 7, 8, 9, I don't know. But my father built us like a wooden hut behind our garage. And because I liked being busy and doing stuff, and I had the motivation to do things, all the other kids that lived in the street around us, because we lived in this kind of residential area, I'd get them all together and we'd get together in this hut on a morning and during the holidays, and we'd go, right, what are we doing today? And I'd come up with a load of stuff, right, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And the reason I wanted to lead was because otherwise we'd have sat around doing bugger all. And so I wanted to lead because I wanted us to go and do stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's probably my earliest indicator that I wanted to lead, and I could, because these guys used to turn up every day and they wanted me to, what are we doing today, Neil?
Did you see yourself as leading then, or did you see yourself as just creating things for us to do? So did you consciously know you were leading?
So I guess there's an interesting story, right? Because I was a big James Bond fan. And so I created this spy club. Now, bear in mind, I was below 10 years old. And so I had this map of the area pinned on the wall of this hut. And we used to all get together, and then I would sit in my hut like, like M in James Bond. And I would send them out to go and see what's going on in the area, and then they had to come back and report back to me. So that they go off in two. So they go, right, this lady's out in her garden. So I knew I was leading because I was sitting back at HQ sending people out with instructions.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Now, I haven't told that to anybody outside of the family, I don't think, ever. So,
do you think any of the people that were involved in that might be watching this?
I have no idea, actually. I have no idea where any of them are now. I mean, we are going back, 40 plus years. So yeah,
Fantastic.
So that was So that, I guess that's it. Right. Next
That's
question.
That's a great memory, mate. That's a great memory.
So thinking of, I guess, what was your best moment as a leader in any time in your career or in your personal life? What was your best time as a leader?
I'd say the best time, and it wasn't a moment in time, it was an evolution, but it was when I took the job as Director of Technical Support Services for UK, Ireland, South Africa. Mm-hmm. And we knew we had a problem. And I think you might remember that meeting we had down at Heckfield House down in Eversley. And we all got in the room together and went, right, guys, cards on the table. We're not making the revenue. We're not making the profit. Our customers hate us. Our people don't like us. We got to change this thing. How are we going to do that? Yeah. By the way, guys, before we go any further, if anybody wants to leave the room, that's fine. But if you stay in the room, then we're going forward together. And sometime later, Neil, when was it? 3 years into that, 2.5 years into that, we were told we were the best performing unit in the world, right? We'd beaten Germany, we'd beaten the US, and you and I know they were kind of targets for us, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, there wasn't a moment in time, but there was a point at which we went, this plan's come together. And the things we said we wanted to do, and we'd made changes in the team over that period because you looked at things and went, this isn't going the way I want. We need to change that person. That felt like, but I would say I never felt that was just my leadership. I felt that was our plan had come together, but clearly my leadership was a major piece of that, right?
So that sounds, and obviously I remember it because I was there and I was part of it, but that was kind of like a leadership journey, that 2-3 years. Was there a moment when, when you just, that tingle comes in, when you just emotions well up and you just think, I am so proud of myself, or I'm proud of the team, or, as a leader?
Yeah, actually, now you ask it again. I think what I would take that back to is, do you remember the times that we used to do the business briefing sessions? We hired Center Parcs.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember no off-site meetings. We hired Center Parcs. We had 250 people in the room. And I got introduced onto stage as the director. And the first charts I put up were, let's take a look back in the year before. Mm-hmm. And we went, we hit the revenue, we hit the profit, we hit the customer sat, the dum. And I could stand on stage and go, I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah. Because I made sure we had the right things we needed. So yeah, actually, it's quite interesting. I can see, this is really arrogant, isn't it? But I can see myself standing on stage now with that feeling going, wow. Yeah.
And it's interesting because those moments tend to happen because of everything that's gone on before, because of the hardship that's gone on before, because of the difficult decisions, the difficult conversations, and the amount of hard work. It's when that all comes together that those, you think, wow, I just feel great. So I'm going to ask a second question as well, because it's linked.
Okay.
So what was the worst moment?
As a leader?
Yeah.
The worst moment as a leader was my boss's boss at the time decided he didn't like the way things were going, and he forced what he called the Sunday meeting. So we came in on a Sunday to a meeting and he said, bring your team with you. And when we went in the room, I basically had planned out how we were going to manage things. And he got up at the flip chart and he did some maths and he said, based on where you are to based on where you need to be, 84 people have to be gone within the month. And I went, yeah, but if we look at it this way, and he went, 84 people are gone. And I remember sitting there thinking, I'm the leader. I make the decisions what happens in my business to hit my results. Mm-hmm. And he said, 84 people are gone. And across the table was my boss. And I said, yeah, but if you look at it this way, and my boss was going, and I went, no. And he said, 84, or would you like it to be 85? Right? And I remember thinking then, I'm the leader, I'm accountable. I don't mind living with the tough decisions I've got to make, but I've now got to go and execute somebody